It was good that Dad had an advanced care plan because when he eventually did have a stroke, it was a major stroke, and he was actually in New Zealand on a holiday at the time, and that made it very difficult because he was overseas. But what it meant was that as soon as we found out that that had happened, we could contact the hospital. I could fax that straight through to them because Dad actually had lost all his capacity to make decisions, and he was delirious, so he wasn't in any state he wasn't the man he was. So that was really important for me to be able to actually fax that through, and for doctors and nurses to be able to make decisions based on his wishes. When Dad came back to Australia, he was sent to Frankston Emergency Hospital. Because I was notified of that, I just made sure that I was there all the time and made them aware of that straight away, because Dad was very clear in what he wanted to happen if this situation arose. My dad did his advanced care directive because he was worried that his life would be prolonged if he had a major stroke, and basically his wishes were that if he mentally or physically couldn't look after himself, he didn't want life prolonged in any way. Because he had the advanced care directive, it actually meant that doctors and nurses and myself as his medical power of attorney could make decisions based just basically on what Dad wanted, not what we felt he needed or that we thought emotionally that he needed or wanted. We could actually read the advanced care plan and just look at, okay, this is what Dad's wanted, so this is the decision to make. So it made the decision making on Dad's behalf very clear and much easier. Basically, I was Dad's voice, and that was whenever I had a decision to make or entered into any discussions with nurses and doctors, I could always go back to what were Dad's wishes. They were in writing. Sometimes I had to reread it, even though I knew it and sat in. I needed to reread just to get clarity that this was actually what Dad wanted, and I could be his voice, not what I thought was the best thing. It was really important that I was authorised as his decision maker because I was the only person that actually knew Dad's wishes. Dad was a very private and proud person, and he actually didn't discuss any personal issues with family members. So family members didn't actually know what his wishes were. They also didn't know that he'd had 6 mini strokes prior to this. So it was really important because family members all had their own emotional things to go through. They actually wanted Dad's life prolonged. They thought he would get better. Even after discussions with head neurologists, they thought that Dad would get up and walk again. So it was really important that that was there so that then I could make sure that his wishes were followed rather than what the family wanted to happen. I'd recommend that everyone appoints a medical power of attorney, but also makes it really clear to that person what their wishes are in writing. I think it's a great idea that everyone has an advanced care directive because you can have discussions with people and think that you know what they want, but then when things happen to family members it becomes very emotional, and it's actually very difficult to make those decisions even if you've heard them say that. So to actually have something in writing means that you can go back, reflect on that, and your intention is to do what they actually want, so you can use that and make decisions based around that.